Wait,
Awesome.
Oh, we're live?
Okay, yeah, we're live. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining in. This is True Demon, the Devil's Stockbroker. Oh, God, my audio just... Hold on, my audio is all screwed up. I'm hearing myself through YouTube.
It's okay, everybody. True Demon was about to make an announcement saying that I have purchased his YouTube channel to again convince everybody to buy puts to short the stock. True Demon, it's a pleasure to be doing business with you, sir.
Can somebody ban Astro? Welcome, everybody. While we're getting this stuff figured out, I will talk about random shit. Oh no. There we go.
When I had a stage in my Discord last Friday, I ran into the same problem where people would randomly be booted. It seems like it's a Discord problem. I'm not a Discord wizard by any means, but we'll just blame it on something you can't control. It makes the most sense here.
Just turn it
I
off.
appreciate
Just
that.
Again, so hello, and I guess we'll speak as we are allowed to be within the stage. As Discord sees
While we
it,
get
the
everything
Discord
figured
gods.
out, if you are watching us on YouTube, feel free to like and share the video. That would be amazing. Also, if you want to join, I'm going to drop a link in YouTube chat where you guys can join and you can talk directly with us during this conversation. You don't have to follow us through or be a member through Patreon. This conversation is for the community, for everyone to feel heard. So let me do that really quick. And thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, I think I figured out my audio issues. For whatever reason, I had 3 simultaneous videos up and running for this stream, and they all started talking at the same time, and it just fried my brain.
Yeah, and just a quick heads
I've
up,
done that.
I've now, just before that, I don't know if right after you had the audio issue, but I also got booted from Discord again, so if you see me leave, I'm just going to continuously try to get back in and I guess keep rolling, so I guess we'll figure it out as we go.
Oh my god. YouTube issues, Discord issues. Fate just does not want us to have this conversation.
I wish
know.
Discord was a publicly traded company. I'd short the shit out of this fucking thing tomorrow morning at 9:30.
And we're demonetized. Thanks, Astro. Glad you're
No
here.
problem.
Just kidding.
Being here, this is I'm sure that everybody else gave you a spiel, but I'm going to give you mine. My name is True Demon. This is Hell's Trading Floor, and here we're going to be talking with Trey's Trades and that guy Astro about their respective squeeze theories. The whole purpose of this event is just to host a conversation and make it so that everybody is able to come up and ask questions and just to have an open discussion about the theory. So
Womp womp.
Oh my lord, yeah, I just got kicked again and had to come back in and he's now kicked again. Oh
Weekend's
my
listening,
god,
shit.
what is happening? Holy lord, I'm surprised there's not more outage reports.
So maybe we should just tell everybody to come in here and... Well, no, that wouldn't work. I mean, if you're still going to get kicked. Can we have Pew Pew and Occam's? Can we have you guys drop down? Maybe it's like too many people on stage.
Yeah, fuck you guys.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a too many people on stage thing.
And Astro's gone. Really? What the hell?
I'm back, bitches.
This is so weird. We had a bunch of people on stage when we did the last town hall.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I think it's either Discord itself I think it's Discord itself because mine just literally keeps shutting down and restarting, like completely rebooting on my desktop.
Same with mine.
Yeah.
Got booted 3 or 4 times.
This is so much fun. Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, no,
Oh
we try
my
to provide
God.
the best possible experience for all of our guests.
Someone's gonna be like, "Can I speak?" Mo, is TD back? No.
Yeah, this is wild. I just got booted like 2 or 3 times. The whole app is freezing up and then just disappears. It stops working, then relaunches.
Are you guys on a PC or on
I'm
mobile?
on a Mac.
I am on a computer.
I'm on a PC also.
Yeah.
I'm at a PlayStation.
I'm on a PC. I haven't been booted again yet.
Discord is running like it is on a Game Boy right now. I am kind of pissed.
Oh lordy. Okay. Yeah. This is
Everybody's getting kicked repeatedly at exactly 6 o'clock. We had none of these issues the whole day, and then at exactly this moment is when Discord decides it's going to pitch a fit.
It's so strange because Down Detector has almost no reports at all yet, which usually is pretty quick.
It's probably just a bug.
Aren't you guys like hackers and stuff?
Maybe a feature. How quickly can anyone set up a Mattermost server very quickly or something?
No, that's probably not going to work out. And there goes Dave.
And yeah, for people asking in chat, we are having technical issues. Discord, for whatever reason, which is where this is being hosted, is just for whatever reason crashing on everyone every 5 to 10 seconds. So we're just trying to kind of weather the storm. Hopefully it's just a bug or something odd, but trying to figure it out.
If this
so great.
Yeah, if this continues, maybe, I don't know. I dread using a Twitter space call for this, but maybe that's what we'll have to do because there's no alternative.
I hate those things.
I can't.
My lord.
Don't worry, I'd ban Mallow first.
And Discord just briefly crashed on me again.
Again for me as well.
Again.
And again for me as well. And I'm back. Oh my lord.
Well, kids.
I want to go and find whoever is at Discord that is just turning off and on all the switches at Discord's data center and just start strangling them.
Do you maybe want me to put up like a little 10-minute "we'll be back in 10-minute" thing on the YouTube banner just so everyone's not confused as hell?
Have you tried switching it to Wumbo?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, just put on a let's see. Let's figure something out. For now, Kat, throw up like a technical difficulties banner or something on the YouTube stream just so that nobody is confused. This has gotten a little bit ridiculous now. This is my 5th time with my Discord crashing. For the first time today. It had to be at exactly 6 p.m.
Why don't we try making a VC?
That might be the only way.
Maybe it's like something with stages, even though that would be
well, the whole app is crashing constantly, so I don't think it would be a VC thing.
Yeah. I'm not
But I think another thing, I mean, we'll give it just like a minute or two without getting into any deep conversation. Let's see if we can go maybe a full 3 or 4 minutes without anyone getting kicked, and we'll use that as our marker to kind of really get into it. So we'll just hang out for a second, just see if we can.
Okay. I guess in the meanwhile we can chat a little bit back and forth about maybe some of the tickers. I mean, AMC's action this week has been a little bit disappointing.
Oh, Mary of Lord!
Wow,
man!
Oh wow!
Yeah, okay.
LMNOP though.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna take
LMNOP.
Ooh, I can already feel True Demon's frustration on the other
Dude,
end.
you know what? Everybody, just so you know, he's gonna get so mad and it's gonna be so good. So if you're
Yeah.
watching, if
We're
you're
actually doing this
listening-
on purpose. We just keep kicking him and
No,
telling him it's a
if
Discord
you're-
issue. No, I'm kidding.
if you're listening, just wait. Like when he gets mad, it's so good. Just you hear it in his voice. It's just really good. So just wait for it. Also, beware of cactuses around you, cacti. He's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, this is definitely an issue.
There we go. Spam starts.
If anybody was curious, my cat today knocked the full roll of toilet paper into my toilet. I don't know how everybody else's day is going, but that about sums up, how we're chilling. That was good.
What did you do with it?
I took a shit on toilet paper that was in the tolit, and I was like, well, damn.
Oh, okay.
Now I don't have any toilet paper, and I got to somehow flush this down the toilet.
That's so gross.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a situation where you look and you're like, well, now I just got to take the whole toilet and stomp this thing down my fucking shower drain.
It's nice to see that we're bringing only the best quality content to,
Yeah.
to the internet.
What's the problem?
All right,
Oh, no,
Discord
it's
just
at that
crashed
point
for
that
me.
he's getting his toilet.
Discord just crashed for me again, and I see people dropping and coming back in repeatedly. So this isn't getting any better any quickly. So let's pivot and figure out something else.
Start a space call. We all have Twitter. We can stream the space call through Discord.
Okay.
So if we start a space call, you start a space call, make me a co-admin or whatever it is, and then Kat can stream the space call through Discord.
Okay. Kat, are you able to shift? Are you able to shift for that really quickly?
Yeah, I got kicked
He's
again,
gone
so I
from
only
the
heard
stage.
half.
God.
Holy Mary, Mother of Christ.
Nuts.
So, Kat, the plan is TD is going to make a space call. He's going to make me a co-admin. I'm going to shill the shit out of it. And then I'm going to drop it in YouTube chat where you are going to stream from the Discord the space call. So people can either join from True Demon's Twitter, which we'll put a link right now in our YouTube. So you guys won't have to go anywhere. You won't have to try to find a new link or whatever. You can watch through YouTube. Or you can join in with the conversation through Twitter space calls. Maybe this will work better because Elon is buying it. I don't know.
Makes sense to me.
But I'm going to have to get off because I'll have to use my phone.
I have one other suggestion.
Okay.
Let's switch to a VC. Let's just switch to a VC really quick.
Okay.
We're gonna have to ask people to be polite.
You got to make a VC that's going to be open to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do. No, my whole Discord interface is frozen. Okay, never mind. Fuck that. We're going to Twitter.
Yeah. So you make a Twitter thing right now.
Yeah, I'm making it. I'm sorry, everybody. This is really awful. This is really awful.
It's our first day.
No, this is Discord being Discord.
That's my excuse.
And I want that on YouTube. Discord, I blame you. You are failing at everything that you are as a platform. Allowing people to speak to each other.
Do you want a self-hosted alternative? Not right now. I probably can't do it right this second. I mean, for next time.
Yeah, there's a lot of spammers
For
in
backup.
the town hall chat, and we just need to ban them.
Okay. Well, we are going to switch over to Twitter.
You should drop from this, though, and so will I.
Yep, I am.
Okay.
We will see you guys over on the other side.
Side note, real quick. The Twitter doesn't work on desktop for space calls, does it?
No, you can't can't
download
join it.
BlueStacks.
You can join BlueStacks.
Yeah, it's an Android emulator.
That sounds like it's going to be complex to set up. I don't
No,
think
it's actually really easy.
Let's stick with Twitter.
Son of a bitch!
Alright guys, I'm gonna keep you kind of apprised here. I'm sorry, I know there's no visual right now, but yeah, we're having some serious technical difficulties with this. Discord continues to crash over and over and over again, and we're trying to switch to Twitter, but that also means we may not be able to stream on YouTube because... Let's see, okay.
Okay, let's see if we can make this work now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. For some reason, you didn't become a co-host, so
Oh, really?
try to figure that out. Yeah.
Oh. Shoot, dude.
You should see the invitation.
Yeah, I pressed accept. There we go. I think, right?
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Now let's see if we can get Trey and Astro in here.
This is actually my first day doing this. Oh, I got it. Okay.
Wait a second.
I got it. I can invite them right now.
Okay. Because Astro went and changed his avatar and his user alias, so it doesn't look like him, and it confused the hell out of me. Kat, I've also invited you to co-host, so if you could come up here.
He's got to be also on a cell phone, which he might be. I don't know if he's still streaming through YouTube.
I think the way that I've always had to do this is I had to record on my desktop and send the feed to YouTube, which is a pain, and then listen and interact via my phone because Twitter hates desktop and believes that for some reason that desktop should be incapable of allowing you to speak to people on the other end of the line. The absolute lunacy and dysfunction of all of these social media platforms to the point where it's like just no, we don't want to let you speak to each other if you're using separate platforms. Just seems so ludicrous to me.
Okay, Well,
All right, am I able to be heard?
Yes, Kat, we can hear you.
Perfect. All right, I got you going in left ear and my right ear on different ones delayed, so it's perfect. I can hear everything.
Okay, great.
I actually don't know how to invite him now. It's like
Okay, there's Trey. And hopefully we can get Astro up here.
I'm gonna be running this on my phone, so I'm probably not gonna sound as crisp, but we're present.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate consequence of Twitter is no nice microphones, just our terrible cell phone reception.
yeah, it's not letting
It
me
is what it
search
is,
for
man. We'll make it work.
Astro.
It's okay, he just walked in, I got him.
Okay, he walked in like we're in a room.
Yeah. Okay. Astro, can we go ahead and get a mic check from you? I see he's unmuted.
We're making progress.
We're slowly getting there. 22 minutes into the event, and we haven't spoken an ounce of substance.
Doctor, hello?
There we go.
Ah, there you are. Hey.
That's great. It's amazing.
Wow. What an incredible cacophony of disaster.
I think we did a good job pivoting right there. You know?
We do what we can.
Fucking hate.
It's all about making stuff tough on the fly, man. That's the way life goes. Yeah, you do what you got to do.
It is. Okay. So this is probably the maximum amount of mods that I can have up here at a given time. But now that we are here, Kat, let me know when you have confirmation that you have full audio going through and confirm that we're streaming it to YouTube. And then we'll go ahead and get started finally.
Yep, I just put a comment in, just checking with all YouTube people.
Okay. I'm at least getting some confirmation from the folks on the YouTube stream that things are going through, which is nice. Okay. Beautiful. So now that we are finally here, after much ado, let me go ahead and give us our introduction. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. My name is True Demon. I'm the Devil's Stockbroker, and this is our special Hell's Town Hall, which has absolutely no audio quality because Discord sucks. It decided to keep crashing on us repeatedly and then force us to go to this platform, which is now almost entirely owned by Elon Musk. So I'm sure it'll go so much better. In any case, thank you, everybody. This event is to cover the due diligence and the theories surrounding what Astro and Trey have put together between Astro's shorts, secret weapon, and Trey's big squeeze theories, both of which are admittedly a little bit controversial, but discuss a very important topic surrounding the use of options in the market and how they relate and how they affect all stocks, not just meme stocks, but particularly meme stocks such as AMC, GameStop, and several others. So with that being said, Trey, Astro, I'll turn it over to you to kind of bring up what it is that you think are the most important key points of these theories, and then we can bring up some folks to, I guess, kind of talk about it, and we can feel free to have an open discussion. I would ask that everybody be respectful and understand that we're here to have a conversation about this. We're here to trade back and forth ideas. Nobody is here to get upset or defensive or offensive about what these theories mean. It is just an idea. It is just a discussion at the end of the day. And through this discussion, we hope to educate ourselves and each other so that we understand the markets a little bit better. So with that, Trey,
No DD! Sorry.
and with
Well,
that,
have at it.
Astro.
Have at it, Dr. Monty. I'll let you start. I'll follow up.
Sorry, that's a little tagline that me and my community came up with moons ago about people who can't be open-minded to new ideas. So basically, what I came across was there's been a massive arbitrage opportunity. This is actually one of my final aces up my sleeve in terms of this theory. There was a massive arbitrage opportunity by market makers and or rather completely agnostic option sellers in the market shortly after COVID. The historical volatility curve of AMC and GameStop actually has a huge premium opportunity on the put side. Basically around every major market episode that came with COVID. So this volatility curve is not rigid. It's very fluid, and it continues to ripple and echo throughout time. And when you see this happen, you had tons of people buying puts around this time during the market's mania. And because of that, this historical volatility curve has offered an opportunity for market makers and friends to sell puts at a very high premium. And this is episodic. This is cyclical. This continues to pop up. And when that happens, when market makers sell puts, you have things like delta hedging take place. You also have gamma ramps that form on the other side of the equation. And because of this, whenever you sell puts, the market will on its own react and often push the price up because those who sold those puts do not want those to go into the money. Some people refer to this as max pain. Some people just consider it bullish. But I came across this not too long ago, and a lot of things started clicking. So the idea is that because of this episodic premium that is accrued during these particular phases, that's when you'll see stock prices often move up. And on top of that, there's a lack of retail participation on the put side during all of this, that when you don't have the COVID echoes come out. And when that happens, market makers are incentivized to sell calls instead. And that's because most people are buying calls around this time. And when that happens, the premium opportunity is on the call side. This all has to do with another metric called implied volatility. And implied volatility is a forward-looking metric. So when implied volatility is greater than historical volatility, which is about 99% of the time, market makers will use that opportunity to sell premium on that side of the options chain. So implied volatility is driven by retail, it's driven by speculators, it's driven by anyone and everyone who even touches the bid on an option contract. So because retail has been egregiously unrepresented in the options chain, that's basically just been fueling premiums on the call side. And when that happens, then market makers are incentivized to sell calls, and that pushes the price down.
And I suppose I could step in here. I kind of had
So
had watched.
I
Go ahead.
I want to speak to this because I know that a lot of people in this community don't like the idea of trading options, and there's a lot of misinformation that circulates around the options market, and such to the point where people don't even want to think about it or look at it, and they'll even like go so far as to just like shut out the information. So before going too deep into this, I want to emphasize that the whole point of this is that we need to educate ourselves so that everybody is on the same playing field and everybody understands what these devices are, what they mean. And at this point, I'm not going to insult everyone's intelligence by explaining what a put option is in detail, but what I will explain is what the concept of a volatility curve is and why what Astro is talking about is so important. So if you imagine puts and calls, the whole call chain is like a fulcrum, like a teeter-totter. If you shift the teeter-totter's center to one side of the fulcrum or the point that it's sitting on at its point of balance, then the side that is longer will have more control, more leverage over the price. And when you think of how everybody's been buying and selling calls, that's moving the fulcrum in favor of the calls because there's so much weight on that side, right? And since market makers and broker dealers, they sell options. That's what they do. They sell options in order to collect premium. And by doing so, because we're buying those constantly and swallowing up those devices, there is a ton of weight on that one side of the fulcrum. And on its face, that might seem like a good thing, right? Because a lot of calls can lead to gamma ramps and gamma squeezes and things like that, which is true, but there is a certain balance to it as well. And because the market makers and broker dealers are selling so many call options, they want the price to go down. They want it to stay low, and they want to keep it under control. And it is well known in the stock market that the options market moves the stock price. It really does. So it's important that even though by purchasing and selling shares, that moves the bid ask, slightly, but what we're talking about is reading sentiment and understanding what everybody thinks the stock is going to do, causing others to make a purchase or a sale according to that sentiment. And when you have tons of big entities selling bulk options to a bunch of retailers who, in their view, are complete morons that don't know what we're doing, then that tells other big whales in the market to bet against us, and then therefore will buy a small portion of puts, or they'll sell short the stock because they understand that the market maker will push it down, right? So how we combat this, a lot of controversy has come up with the idea of retail should buy puts. No, that's not necessarily true. What we should do is we should look objectively at what the stock is doing on a given week. We should read it the same way that we read any other stock, because at the end of the day, what retail is trying to do in this entire movement isn't just to cause AMC to squeeze. That's not the end-all, be-all of this. The point of this is to put control of the financial markets back in the hands of the individuals and base the market on fair market value. That's the point. That is what this movement is all about, is a fair and free, balanced market. And that's why what I feel that Astro has been talking about is so important, even though on its face, I know that people are saying this. They're just saying, oh, he's saying to buy puts against AMC, and then just cuss him out. That's a closed-minded and very myopic view of what's being said here. What's being said is that the purchasing and selling of only calls it's playing into the hands of those that we seek to fight against.
And on top of that, I also want to address something real quick. A lot of people have this misconception of the amount of premium that's
I don't want to
drained.
monopolize the microphone too much. Trey, I'm sure you have something to say about this because you came up with a big follow-on theory to all of this. What's your take on all of this? And, do you agree or disagree with anything that I've said?
Yeah. No, I'll speak real quick. Hi, my name's Trey. I'm from Trey's Trades. I guess that's why it's called Trey's Trades. My theory kind of it runs with.
Trey, if you're speaking, I don't think you're coming through.
Can you guys not hear me?
I can hear you, True Demon. I think your phone might
Is anybody
be
coming
lagging.
through?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think TV's having issues.
Yeah, I can hear.
Oh boy.
Can we get some claps in the space if we're hearing
this
things okay?
This is lovely. Now is Twitter doing it to me too? Let's see.
True Demon.
Give me some give me some laughing faces, everybody, if I'm the only one that anyone can hear.
No, I mean we could hear. The only thing is like the mic went from like the speaker
Great.
to actually your
That's
phone.
beautiful. That's fantastic. I'm
Hold on.
so glad that I'm so glad that we have these social media platforms that function naturally and fairly and as we expect. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, because the sound is not actually coming out from the speaker anymore. Yeah, you have to put your ear on it, like if you're making a phone call. It's weird.
Get shit on, nerd.
So, True Demon, I don't know if you can hear me.
Well, now I'm kind of at a loss for what to do because this was our backup plan.
True Demon, can you hear me?
Kat, can you speak? Dilly, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
We can
I'm
hear
speaking.
you, but nothing's coming. But I guess you can't hear us.
Yeah, we can hear you, G.
We can hear you, man. It's on.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to restart this this space call because that's the only thing that I can think to do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube,
All right.
for everyone listening,
Keep an
you
eye
heard that
out,
we're having
everybody.
even
I'm gonna
more.
go
We
ahead
went
and
from
restart
Discord
this thing.
technical
We'll try to get
difficulties
this back.
to now Twitter Space technical difficulties. So we are just swapping them out. If you're just listening or just hanging out on your couch or something, just give it 10-20 seconds. I'm sure we'll have a new one up. I don't know what it is, man. They don't want us to do this, apparently. They really don't want us to do this event, man. Holy crap. Apparently TD was getting no audio on his end, so he was just he wasn't able to hear anything on his end, which we've had happen before. That's not a new issue. This actually happened to us, I think, last time.
Wi-Fi service, and maybe you need to turn off and go through your cellular service.
I don't want to do that because my cellular service is terrible and my Wi-Fi is supposed to be on fiber.
Okay.
Well, I'm literally I'm actually 1 foot from my router. It's at the end of my desk.
Okay, I believe you. If there was anybody that I would believe, it's you. All right.
I think that it is just.
I'm inviting
this
Trey,
is just a way of
and I'm
thinking.
inviting Astro back. So thank you all for coming back. I'm so sorry that this happened. It's not us, it's you. Just kidding. We're really great. It's really great to have you all, though.
It's not me. It's you.
I don't know, man. That's the best I got.
I keep getting the notification, Dilly, that you have accepted my invitation as co-host repeatedly, but you don't show up here in the space call. You're just
Really?
gone. Yeah.
Well,
So this is how I know that basically you cannot pay for a service anymore these days. Or Elon Musk is having fun in the data center and running around just flipping switches like a toddler. That's my theory anyway.
okay, so we got Astro back. We have Trey here. We got Chef Pew Pew. If you don't know him, definitely follow. And we have True Demon. I might be showing up. Not sure. Thank you all for coming back. You guys are like the real ones right here.
I just wish that we could find a platform that functioned as it is advertised.
Can we get some people like will you drop some laughing faces if you can hear me struggle to come up with conversation? Okay, I see a couple. I see Ginger. Okay, Scrap Queen. We got C-Dub. Pleasure to see you all. Mellow. So glad you can't use GIFs here. All right, I think we're doing well. And we got to get Cat Moores up here. Yeah, everyone's definitely laughing at Mellow and his GIF usage. Dude, I've never had so many followers. You guys don't want to follow me. Promise.
I've never had so many technical difficulties in one day. I also can't see the requests for speakers. I see that I get the notifications for them, but they don't show up in the
I got
Twitch.
it.
So
I got it. That's why you hired me. Hey, Matt Kors, welcome.
okay.
So why don't we pick it back up if you guys can hear me? Why don't we pick back up where Trey was about to talk, and then we can go into some questions. And if you guys want to talk to our panel of judges in this thing, please feel free to request to speak, and I will pick you based on if I like your profile picture or not.
Hey, so I'm Trey from Trey's Trades, obviously, whatever. Astro just got done kind of explaining his theory behind sort of the derivatives market and the weight that it carries within specific meme stock, quote unquote, movement, AMC specifically, and sort of just to encapsulate that and give a TLDR before I dig into my piece. He's basically stating that there's an imbalance in the amount of demand that takes place between calls and puts, and that because of that imbalance, it changes the way that the stock price moves for the downside. The reason behind this essentially being that market makers, as True Demon had alluded to earlier in the previous space call, will sell calls to collect premium on the high amount of call volume that rolls in. I basically saw this, and I've theorized since about March of 2021 that AMC would squeeze a lot like Tesla. And I still believe that to be the case. However, I think that there's a black swan within this derivatives market, AMC's options market, that's unlike anything you've ever seen. For the previous 9-10 months, you can maybe find, you can count on your hands how many times there's actually been more bearish flow than bullish flow for those previous 10 months every single week. And what that tells us inherently is that more people are buying calls than are buying puts. And what this does is, as Astro sort of talked about before, it changes the volatility curve. You will find that calls are more expensive inherently than puts. Because of that, market makers wanting to collect a lot of premium, these are the guys that write the contracts, will sell calls over selling puts because they're going to make more money. That inherently pushes stock price down. It's a bearish thing in nature. My theory basically took what Astro had stated and I connected some dots, and I thought about it, and I said the nasty P word, and I got some backlash for it, and that's all right. It's a new concept, and I fully expected it, and totally understandable. But I theorized that if retail were to do one of two things, either A, play the options market in a smarter way, where we're not playing calls when it doesn't make sense to play calls, and or B, play puts as a hedge to protect yourself from downside when it makes sense to protect yourself from downside, that you would watch the cost of calls and puts rebalance themselves. And to take it a step further, the final part of that theory was that if you see the rebalance in cost, where calls cost about the same as puts, or even so that puts cost more than calls, you will see a move to the upside. And I want to add this to it. Today, you saw that calls were actually cheaper than puts, and the entire market bled like a fucking something that got hit by a car. I mean, it was ugly. It was an ugly day in the market, and AMC was green. I really don't believe that's a coincidence. I think you look at the fact that for the first time in what appeared to be about a week, last week being one of the first weeks in a very long time that you saw more put flow than bullish flow, the balance kind of fixed itself. I mean, that's really it. You saw that puts costed more than calls, and we moved to the upside. What's the sort of mechanics behind this? It's that market makers are incentivized to sell puts, which would
inherently be bullish. If I was to add one thing to this, True Dean and I kind of talked offline a little bit about what made the most sense. And you could actually even take this a step further or change it just a hair. And if you feel uncomfortable, and I'm not telling you what to do, obviously, you got to do what you got to do. This is just a theory. But, theoretically speaking, a person could sell a put instead of buying a put, and it would have that same sort of inherent nature of incentivizing the stock to go back up. What is that doing? You're playing the market maker game. Selling a put is bullish in nature. It rebalances the demand on both sides of the options chain. And that's basically my theory. My theory is that if retail can play options smarter, because inherently we just start playing it. I don't think everybody is. There are sort of two categories of people. You've got the left side, perhaps, that's just buy and hold, which is absolutely fine. That's cool with me. And you've got the right side, which is buy and hold and play options, which is also cool by me. Everyone has to do what they got to do with their money. I just think that the right side, who happens to do both, it's never a bad thing to educate and to teach. And that's ultimately what my mission is here, is to see retail win. Every single day I go on Twitter, and I don't always reply to DMs. I don't always, reply to a tweet. But you see people down on their feels, man. And what people sometimes forget is that this isn't a game. This is real money, right? And there are people out there who are over-leveraged, who feel like there's no hope, and who view a green day as good and a red day as bad. And I think the sooner that we can get people to not make that connection, that emotional connection to a color that you cannot control, an intangible, uncontrollable factor, the better off this movement's going to be, the better off people are going to be. I think that's genuinely important, and that's my hope. I mean, genuinely, I just want to see people level-headed, cool, calm, collected, and able to keep moving forward every day to grow. That's it.
Thanks, Trey.
Hell yeah.
So then I guess at this point where we can bring up people that want to talk about this or ask questions. So feel free to, throw in a request and jump up here to speak if you have something that you'd like to share. What's up, Dylan?
Twisted AI. He's been requesting since the first space call. So thank you.
Yo, what's good, man? What's good? What's up, Trey? Yo, man, I've been catching flack. It's crazy because I was talking about options and understanding options, man. Like a week to 2 weeks before, I've been talking about it, right? But I was getting yo, don't talk about options, don't talk about other tickers. Right? I'm like, yo, we're waiting, let's make money, right? And I was catching flack, and then you come out with the video. I'm like, yo, Trey got nuts. But straight up, I think it's important to know, right? Me personally, I'm not gonna play puts. Now, I want to know y'all opinion on this. What do you think happens if there's no more weekly options being traded and everything is 2024? What do y'all think? What do y'all think happens in that situation? Does it lower the incentivization for them to suppress the stock price, or does it increase it?
So you're you're asking if just everybody played leaps, if that would have an effect?
Yeah, if nobody played weeklies, 2 weeklies, 1 monthlies, and everybody was just playing leaps right now, and there was no open interest on the call side nor the put side in the short term for AMC. I'm asking y'all opinion. What do y'all think would happen to the stock price?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. I never thought of it this way. But if we were to just suddenly take away weekly and monthly options, and the only thing that was available was leaps or quarterlies or something like that, I think that you would find that the stock would move more on it would move more volatilely based on stock purchases and dark pool movement rather than options, because the options liquidity would be I imagine that the options liquidity would be a lot smaller. So you wouldn't have as near-term volatility, but I do think that it would also slow down the movement of the stock overall, and it would create a long-term trend in whatever direction it's going to head naturally. But I don't know. That's a really interesting way to think about it. But at the same time, I don't want to think too hard about that, because it's not going to happen. It's not really.
I know.
It's not really what's going on.
Yeah, well, I
And
think the key is for us all to get educated, right, and understand that like there's multiple ways to play it. If you're discussing it from the options trade perspective, for ones that feel like a put is a short position, because of course people put in our heads, don't trade puts, that's a short position. Oh, and and then we got people on the space calls like, yo, there's infinite losses when you buy a put and it goes down. No, you only lose your premium. Which I like trying to explain this to some of these people, bro, and like they're struggling understanding it because I feel like it's been an echo chamber on Twitter for so long, right? And it's like when we kind of touch these situations where it sounds complex, people tend to shut it down and get afraid to get intimidated. When it's really it's really easy to understand this, right? And if you believe in this stock in the next 2 years or next year, right, and you're betting on it and you're betting on it long term, well, I mean, you're more likely to win than lose in that situation versus 1 week or 2 weeks. And I know that kind of in the beginning of this whole equation, right, a year ago and some change, people were saying, oh, 2 week, 1 weeks, iron condor, and overly complicating the option. So like a lot of people kind of try to get it but couldn't get it, and I feel like it was overly complicated, and that's why we're seeing a lot of this this back and forth in terms of the whole situation.
That's definitely, I agree with you. And the lesson to take here is that everybody just needs to be willing to learn about it, because it doesn't matter if you're only a stock trader. If you don't understand how options work, it still affects you. It's like you may not understand how tornadoes work, but it's still going to pick your house up and throw it across the valley. Like, it'll still affect you. You can't avoid the fact that the options market has an effect on stock price. It's just the way it is. Now, you don't have to trade it, but you should understand it. But if you do want to understand it and you want to make money on it and not just focus on buying and holding, that's a good attitude to have, because you're focusing on the idea of building wealth. And I heard you say that you don't play puts. You don't play puts.
No, I do. No, I hedge my positions. No, I don't play puts on AMC, right? And nothing against it. Like, I'm all for it, but I just play leaps on AMC. I've been accumulating leaps for like the past year and a half, and I do other plays in the market.
That's fantastic, and that's how I play like some of my other long plays, like Progenity, for instance. I just basically buy a whole bunch of leaps. So that's a great strategy. It's a valid strategy. For those that may not understand puts or think like puts are just by default bad. No, you can actually bet on a stock with, and be bullish on a stock playing puts. Like, for instance, selling puts is a great way to accumulate a position in stock, especially if you think that the stock is going to go sideways. Then you can sell a put. You can sell a put and you can make income on that with cash collateral. If you think that the stock will go lower, though, or if the stock does go lower, then, well, if you just sell an out the money put and it ends up in the money, you get assigned that put, then you're forced to buy those shares. But it's at a lower price. So are you really losing? Because you wanted those shares, didn't you? So if you think of options like that as a tool to give yourself a hedge, or a think of it like protection, because that's what options are all about. It's about protecting your capital. If you buy an option, or if you sell an option, you could use that to protect your position by either accumulating more income while your money sits on something that may not go up right away. You can use, or it may not go down right away, either direction. If you're selling options and you end up being right, then you're collecting income, and having that mindset is beneficial. So thanks for coming up, Twisted. I want to give T. Peaser a chance to go ahead and speak. He's had his hand up for a little while.
I think Trey was going to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trey, what did you have?
Nah, you basically said what I was going to say in probably a better way anyways, so don't sweat.
Well, let's move to...
All right, T. Peaser, you had your hand up. What's going on?
Hey guys, appreciate the opportunity to come up and speak with you guys, because it's an honor. But hey, Trey, back to talking about in Astro, talking about the puts. I mean, if I'm understanding the market correctly, it's just like when you buy a call option. If you buy an in-the-money call option, depending on what your delta is, they start hedging for that. So therefore, if you don't exercise that call option, my understanding is they short that or they sell that back into the market, which actually kind of hurts us. Am I right saying that?
Hedging goes back and forth. Absolutely. So if you can think of like, for example, I always use the analogy of like a car dealership. A car dealership, if they're expecting like 100 people to come in to store they're going to have enough cars to satisfy those 100 people. And, you know, the analogy and how that would relate to the market would be if there are 10,000 total calls that are in the money at any given point in time, and they're past the break-even price. At that point, the market maker is going to hedge for the equivalent amount of shares so that they have those shares ready. However, obviously with the anticipation of exercising, if that changes and the price drops back beneath that, they will then sell shares in the same way that if an option isn't exercised, it's sold. Well, they no longer have the need to have that stock on hand. They can sell that back into the market. And that goes, obviously, the same way with puts. So if a put, which can also be hedged for the downside, runs in the money and you sell that put, the stock gets bought back. You push the stock back up.
Because really all you're doing, and I like to look at the analogy that you're basically rocking the boat. If the calls are on one side and everybody's sitting on that side and they're going to the other side of the put side, you literally can go in the money puts, which means they have to start hedging for those, which means they're shorting. Yes, that is correct. They're shorting. But guess what they are? As soon as you sell your put and you don't exercise them, they become buyers. They have to buy those shorts back, if I'm understanding it correctly.
That's the way I understand it, man.
And then you're sloshing the boat back and forth. It actually creates more gamma by doing that.
Yeah, and let me say this too, right? In no way, shape, or form do Astro or I want to mislead you. If a put is bought in the money or it's out the money and runs in the money, it will get hedged for, which will push the stock price down in some sort of way if there's a large enough volume in the very short term. I think that Astro can say the same thing as I, that the way that we look at this is in a much more macro perspective. I don't really care, to be honest, about one day of selling pressure because we've seen it, right? What I care about is people making money and the stock trending in an upwards direction. I think that's ultimately far more important because the fact of the matter here is there are a lot of calls that are just feeding market makers right now. I mean, that's
because you're right. I mean, you're dead on, because if you just do a little bit of pressure on one day, if we see that the pressure is coming in on one day, you buy those puts. You're hedging first off against already your what you've got, which is a smart thing to do as a financial person. But you're pushing it. As long as you get out of those quite quickly, it causes them to buy as much as they just shorted.
Yeah, pretty much what you have going on is you have what I've coined it as a synthetic futures contract, essentially. And the spot price that market makers are behaving by is based on the options chain of the weeklies going into the monthlies, going into your leaps. And you have a natural curve that is built off of that, which you could derive as max pain. But as time goes on, you will see market makers and other speculators react to whatever the price ends up doing. And in which case you'll see a different part of the options chain have attention put on it. If the price starts to go up, you will see market makers kind of roll, literally and figuratively, premium to a different part of the options chain, in which case you'll naturally see ramps build up. But when everyone has been focusing on the calls to this entire equation, puts in terms of value are up to 50% less in cost. If you were to pull the exact position of an at the money call and an at the money put, you'll see a 50% difference. That literally means to a market maker or to anyone who's speculating on this, you can make double the money selling a call versus selling a put. And over time, when we go back to the first example of there are these natural ramps that are seen, these synthetic spot prices, when you have all of the attention being put on selling calls, you'll see the ramp on the call side fall down because there is more attention put to selling there than buying. So eventually you get a spring effect because a lot of people have been talking about, oh, but what about a gamma squeeze in the opposite direction? Well, because a stock price can only go to zero, whereas on the long side, it's theoretically infinite, you have a gradient that becomes more and more compressed as you approach zero. And you'll also see these types of springs, no pun intended, form on stocks that have floated around a certain range for so long. Like if you look at the S&P, for example, you're not going to have a gamma ramp that goes to zero because people have already naturally deposited premium into adjacent parts of the downside. So you'll find these natural walls that take place where you have tons of open interest at, call it 400 or 450 or this and that. And that will automatically create a level of a barrier, if you will. Can it fall through? Yes, but it's like a moving 0 point is the way to think of it. Whereas on the call side, you don't really touch some of these out of the money strikes as often. And when that happens, that's where you see big moves happen, because then people are naturally hedging for that, but also people are rolling their put position that they had, that synthetic barrier, we'll call it. They'll move that up and they'll collect the premium on that. And on top of that, create a layer at which the price can kind of sit on. And if you look at like the open interest to the options chain for this week, the highest open interest that I can see right now is 23,000 on the call side, which is at the $20 strike. If everyone that is the underwriter to these calls were to delta hedge for the full value, let's just say for some reason the delta just went to 0, right? And now everyone is selling their options to hedge for that. That would only be 2.3 million in volume. That's about 5 candles that you see throughout the day in volume. It creates a completely different picture as to what's happening. And that's what's beautiful about this, because the buying and selling pressure is just an illusion. Like you can see a stock price move 5% off of 5,000 in volume or 5 million in volume. And it all just depends on the bid and the ask and the gradient that is formed on that side of the equation. The volume is just it's an illusion. It doesn't really involve anything that is natural price discovery. It's all about who is slamming the ask and who is slamming the bid. So great questions though. I mean, I'm glad you brought some of that stuff up.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah. I'll step down. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yo, Trey, Demon, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing?
Hey, Viking, how's it going?
Chilling, man, chilling. Hey, I want to add on that, bro. Think about every gamma squeeze we've seen, AMC, GameStop, SPRT. If that thing were to gamma squeeze down, opposite gamma squeeze, what are you going to see? You're going to see people, they're not going to be exercising those puts more than likely. And if they do, let's say, 10%, 90%, then you go back to that, well, now they got to start going long, not to mention there's always, no matter what, no matter who's here talking, there's always going to be more puts than calls. So if you did get that effect, you might actually see an insane bounce and like a gamma squeeze in the opposite direction as everybody's closing their puts and then going long. And then you're getting all those other calls. So just to add to that, I did want to say, and the reason I actually requested was to let you know that, hey, if you keep having that problem, we get those on the BBIG calls every now and then, Demon. So worst case scenario, have somebody else host in the future, and then that'll take care of that. But I did want to say there's people in here that don't know anything about options, and I know a few people in here could attest, man. I mean, I've made hundreds of thousands, lost hundreds of thousands in options, and that's going to go both ways, especially if you don't know how to play puts. Even the other day, because I've been doing this. I've talked about this back when I was heavy into PROG, and people gave me hell for like, what do you mean you bought puts? Like, I didn't sell my shares. I'm taking money from market makers, and I took that money, and what did I do? I bought shares. You know, I was able to increase my position. But just the other day, I was doing the same thing. I ended up going long on, I think, April 14th calls when AMC was at 17 on that last pump we had. And I was looking at the chart, and it reminds me a lot of March. So I was actually feeling like 30 to 34 was going to be the top on this. So I bought the $20 strikes. I ended up getting out when we hit like $28. And then I waited because I felt like it'd keep going up, but I wanted to protect my gains right on the call options. And then I ended up buying the puts when we were around $30, give or take. Like, I timed it pretty good. But what happened? The volatility was so high that those didn't become profitable until we were back down to like $24 because everything else had cooled off. So, you know, I know people are, if you are in the options game, a lot of people are buying calls. And then if the stock runs, you're like, you know, holy shit, this thing's going insane. Look at it's not going to play the same with the puts. If you're buying after a run like that, you know what I mean? So just, you guys always need to make sure that no matter who's here talking, like I said, whether it's me, Trey, True Demon, if Warren Buffett hops on, bro, don't just take their word as gold. Always make sure you're doing your own research, because the market, the one thing I know for a fact about the market is that 2 + 2 never equals 4. And it's the only place that that's true. And market makers are 100% in control. I went to Disney World in January with my kids. It was a surprise trip. We had a passing in the family, so I wanted to cheer them up. And I couldn't believe the attendance. It was insane. It was through the roof. And I was like, man, they were calling for the earnings to be terrible and no one's going to the parks. But I knew this not to be true, so I played calls. And they beat by almost double. And I noticed there were a lot of calls being bought. But what happened? Right after that, I mean, the price should have spiked. And this is before all the quote-unquote controversy. But it should have spiked. But the market makers are not going to let that happen, too. That with the short, back to your short exempt thesis, which, by the way, Demon, I mean, bravo, bro. Every day it continues to impress me how much that thesis has come to really help me and a lot of people in this community, man. I remember when I caught on with you in SPRT and I read that thing, I was like, I wanted to print it out and put it in a frame over my desk just so I could read it every day. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add, bro. Like I said, I hopped on here to try to give you some Twitter advice, bro. But the best Twitter advice is, just I hope Elon hostile takes him over. But I'll leave it back to you guys, bro.
Thanks, Viking. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Wall Street Viking. Great to have you. It's awesome to see like a lot of our friends in here. I do want to say that we're not trying to like just talk about options because so many people in this community aren't playing options, and this probably sounds like slightly overwhelming for them. If you're one of those smooth-brained apes that is not in the option game, and that's okay too. So do you guys want to like kind of go off of that too?
Yeah,
Because
you
like,
cool if I
yeah,
it on? Is that all right?
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something real quick to those who do play options. This has obviously been something very controversial. For those who have been, trying to defend that thesis, I apologize. I'm sorry for saying the P word. But truthfully speaking, right? I just ask that people be patient with those who maybe don't understand or even angry, right? If you think about it from their perspective, it's just something that they genuinely don't understand, or in their brain they truly do feel is wrong. It's not that they are actually mad at you. It's that they genuinely just don't understand what you're talking about. To them it doesn't make sense or it seems wrong, and because of that, you're going to get that gut punch reaction. If I've learned anything as a YouTuber, it's that your job is to be a punching bag. You have to accept that, and when you say things that are controversial or you try to stand for what you believe is right, that sort of stuff is going to happen. And I just ask for that sort of patience, because as was just stated, not everybody is playing options. Some people are truly just buy and hold people, and I think it's good to be patient with those people and understanding of those people, and that's all I got to say.
Thanks, Trey. Yeah, this is a community that's all about education here. Hell's Trading Flows is we're trying to foster that conversation so that people can actually come in here and actually begin to understand and find those resources so that they can learn for themselves. Because at the end of the day, like for all of our goals, whatever they may be on an individual level or a community level, we are trying to make money. So that's what it comes down to. Like when you get down to like bricks and mortar, it's about making money, because that's what drives this whole market. That's what affects change in this society that we have. Whether you agree with it or not, money moves the world. It's what circulates all. It's what makes the world go round, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I actually did want to bring something up that Trey, you and I had talked about offline a little bit. Since we're talking about the effect that puts and calls, or the balance between them, affect the volatility curve. One of the thoughts that I had, kind of in support of this theory is, what about the possibility of
just selling puts, because and I want to explain this for everybody that doesn't understand options. Selling a put is a bullish action because you are betting that a stock will not go below the strike price when you sell a put. If it does, then you get assigned that put and you're forced to purchase the shares, 100 shares per put contract at that strike price. So it's an inherently neutral or bullish bet, believing that the stock won't go below that price. So if say we wanted to see this rebalancing effect come about, there's always purchasing and selling. There's buying and selling of options going on all the time, and it's just a matter of when somebody agrees on a price. But no matter where you look at on the chain, there is a bid and ask spread. So just offering up some speculation, what if we had a bunch of apes that, rather than purchasing shares on a given day, they had enough cash that they could sell a cash secured put, and it caused the put chain to grow simply by retail writing put options onto the chain. Because the idea of this rebalancing of the volatility curve, it just hinges on the idea that open interest in calls is way heavier and the volume of trading in calls is way heavier than the put side. So what if you just had a whole bunch of apes selling put options that were deep out of the money, or even in the money if you were feeling risky or you just really, really wanted the shares? If that grew the put chain and created more of a balanced options chain, then would that not achieve the same effect of rebalancing all of it and allowing the stock to run?
Well, hypothetically, of course. Hypothetically, just want to make that clear. You didn't just say that if apes did it. You're talking about in a parallel universe, very much that of like our own, but not this one. Wink, wink.
Thank you. Yeah, for that,
pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's part of the same effect. I mean, basically, IV, implied volatility, is just so dead on the put side relative to the call side that anyone trying to reap passive premium is incentivized to sell short on the call side. Yeah, I mean, that's one way you could theoretically do it.
Yeah. What Astro said, I would say the same thing, and I would tell you that the reason that I was hesitant in the first place is from an outsider's perspective, right? I always try to think about when I pitch information, what will be the perception of those who receive that information. And if I was Trey from a year and a half ago, who literally didn't know shit dick about options, I was fresh off the streets, and I heard just the word put. No matter whether it's buy or it's sell put, I'd probably just think, what do you mean sell put? All I heard is the word put, To me, it seemed like an extra complexity. But if we can accomplish, hypothetically speaking, the education to a level where enough people understand how options work, those who are fresh off the street, who, if we're to start, researching options tomorrow, would learn about it, I think it accomplishes the same thing. And you're kind of playing the game of market maker in a way, in some way, shape, or form. Obviously, there's not like a limited supply. They can somehow write up an infinite amount of contracts, as we've seen with many tickers. But you get to take that power, I mean, you're purposely, in a way, rebalancing it with basically no risk. I mean, the risk is you get assigned and you have to buy shares. I mean, well, that's unfortunate, if you wanted to buy shares anyways, I guess you're good. And if you didn't, well, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm in agreement with you. Yeah, I think it accomplished the same thing.
Yeah, that was kind of my thinking, is that because when you're selling a put, the market maker has to hedge in that other direction, because if you're selling a put, then the market maker would technically purchase shares in order to affect that sale, because you're forced to buy if you get assigned. So if they're purchasing shares, that would technically it would technically set the market maker in a net long position if there was enough volume on the put side. Just thinking about it like purely from the perspective of a market maker and their need to delta hedge. than if they're going to be exercising those puts, or even a broker dealer, for example, because I have to imagine it would be mainly broker dealers, not necessarily market makers, because they're just facilitating the trading. But the broker dealer, if they are looking to hedge a position, then they may take the other side of that trade and purchase the shares so that they could effectively exercise those puts that they bought from you. That's how I think of it. And maybe I'm just not as experienced in that because I don't often sell puts. I've heard the analogy. It's like picking pennies up in front of a steamroller. But I don't think that that's necessarily accurate, especially if you're if it's a stock that has been a consistent moneymaker. It's been good. It's been a good performer. Then selling puts seems like a natural decision to just sell at the money puts.
Well, even like strategies, even like a bullish credit spread, which is where you sell a put at, call it 19, and then buy the put at 18 as a hedge. If you were to find the part of the options chain on the put side where you see a bunch of open interest that is near the current price, if you wanted to help push that up, so you establish a new floor for puts, you'd sell at that high open interest strike and then buy a hedge right below that strike. And then you'd receive a credit. And in the event that it goes the other way, you're responsible for the difference in strike.
And sort of to expand, TD, on what you'd mentioned before, I think there's sort of two different kinds of people that like to look at stocks. You have those who are very sort of risk adverse. They like to keep things very cool, calm, collected. They like to just collect those pennies in front of the steamroller. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful thing for those who are very cool, just watching the slow grind sort of happen. That's a fantastic thing. I think it's, as you mentioned before, if you're used to sort of more of a fast-paced sort of investing style, you're going to find it very boring. It's ultimately up to people. I think that's the beauty of education, is as you're learning, you kind of figure out what you like and you don't like. I think it would work very well for a lot of people. I really do. I think it's not attractive. It's boring as hell. But it actually genuinely makes a difference. I mean, you will make money, and it effectively would rebalance the IV of puts. I just think that's the case.
So we've had some people with their hands raised for a while, and I want to make sure that we get to everybody that wants to have an opportunity to talk to everyone. So Mihal, if you want to ask your question or say whatever you want to say, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much. First of all, Trey, thank you so much for the shout out. I really appreciate that.
Hey, you got some big balls, man.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this space call. Option chain has so much that everybody can learn a lot. Actually, Rocket had a special call about the option chain, and we joined it and we learned a lot too. But I have two questions, okay? And I'm not responding negatively or positively to anybody, just a thought. 90% of the people in the community, they are confused about how it works. And I do calls, right? And I take a 1-year expiration to play it safe. But it has sell to open, buy to close, buy to open, sell to close, so many choices, right? And even with me, on Fidelity, I always do buy to open, right, for the calls. And on the Fidelity, somehow the default was sell to open. I was like, dude, why this is the default option? And I changed that manually, right? But do you guys think that until everybody understand 100% what they are doing, they should stay away from option chain? Because it is so risky. You make one small mistake and you may end up losing money. And let's say if anybody is putting money, they cannot blame anybody else, because you are the one who is investing. So they cannot say like XYZ told me to do this and I did it and now I lost the money, so what should I do? are you going to give me my money back? No, nobody can do that. Everybody is adult here. And when they are choosing it, my personal thought is understand everything 100%. Once you feel comfortable and you are confident, go for it. Your decision will be amazing and you may make money. But if you are going with the short term, whether that's calls or puts, but if you are buying like 1 week or 2 weeks, it's highly possible because of the manipulated price, you may end up losing money. But if you do, please do not blame anybody. So do you guys think understanding 100% first and then investing your money is the best choice?
I think anytime you don't understand something, it's good to take a step back and always learn. I mean, there's lots of great education that's available out there. And what's sort of a good analogy for this? I wouldn't try to ride a motorcycle if I didn't know how to ride a bike. I think it's important to take those baby steps and practice. And once you feel comfortable on the bike, maybe get on the maybe get on the motorcycle. And let's just be honest here. That's what options are. Options are very complex. They're not easy to understand. And that's the fact of the matter. And sadly, I think there are a lot of people out there who, as you just kind of mentioned here, man, play them without, fully grasping sort of what that tool really is. I always kind of tell people this, if they don't know the game, I'd say if you use a hammer to build a deck, you're going to do pretty good, right? It's going to build a deck. But if you're using a hammer to put a Band-Aid on, you're kind of just going to fuck up whatever your wound is. It's all about how you use the tool. And if you don't know how to use it, you shouldn't be using it. You got to first sort of get to the drawing blocks and go from there. So I think you got a good point, man.
That's true. Thank you so much, Trey. I had another question too. It's just for my curiosity, okay? It's and it's not just to Trey only, so anybody can answer if you want. But if we get together and decide to buy certain thing, do you think there would be any legal issue? I mean, like if we are saying let's buy put, and tomorrow everybody goes and buy puts only, a lot of quantity. Do you think we may get in trouble? I mean, just thinking,
I'll go ahead and step in on this one. Yes, that is called that is called stock manipulation. Anytime you have collusion of a significant number of parties that agree to take a certain action on any stock, that is stock manipulation. That's just strictly in terms of the law. What I find ironic, and I'll follow up my answer by saying I find it so ironic and so hypocritical that a bunch of rich fucks can stick their money in the same bank account and let one manager decide where all that money goes on a given day. Kind of fucked up. So, you know what? I will just go ahead and leave it at the statement that stock manipulation happens every single day. We're just not allowed to participate because we don't have the right ticket. But thanks for your question, dude.
As a fellow smarter than myself said, it's one big club and you ain't in it.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah.
None of this is financial advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much
Trey.
for the question.
Thanks,
No
Miho.
problem.
Thank you for your excellent questions.
Have a good day, bro.
EA, why don't you go ahead and you had your hand raised a bit ago. Why don't you go ahead, man?
Thank you so much, Demon, and thank you to everybody in this panel. Like this is, having Trey on the line, Sarah, thank you so much for the opportunity. All of you guys, Astro, that, I have learned so much from you. Always going to be thankful. Can you explain to the community, guys, for example, because I normally, when Trey said about the puts last week, I went up and I did a small position just to learn because I'm the kind of learner that I have to do it myself in order to learn. So I opened a small position and I did a little bit of a gain. But can you explain to the majority of retail, because I think that confuses a lot of retails when it comes to buying or selling either calls or puts. I normally buy the put, right? And I will get a debit from my buying power. Now, can you explain the difference as if you sell the put? Because it's my understanding that if you do sell the put, then the broker will freeze basically that collateral in order to guarantee that sale of that put at that stock price, correct? Can you guys explain that? So, because a lot of people, I'm pretty sure on retail, man, will get confused with that. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So in the event that you're selling any form of option, whether you're selling a call or a put, you're issued what's called a credit, and this is basically the value that particular option is at face value.
Exactly.
Now, typically 9 times out of 10, if your broker isn't a piece of shit, they will require that you have the full cash amount for if that option you sold is exercised. So in the event that you sell a call, whatever that strike is times 100 will be the amount of cash that you need to have on hand to secure that as a form of collateral. And then it's the same thing, just with opposite mechanics on the put. So if you sell a put at $10, then you need to have $10 times 100 in cash to secure that. So they're protecting you from yourself, basically.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it big time. Thanks, Demon.
No problem. I actually want to further clarify this a little bit, because there's two things. Just like there's covered calls and naked calls, there is what's called a cash secured put versus a naked put, and that's just what Astro just described, was a cash secured put. When the broker debits the amount and reserves it as collateral, that's called cash secured, because you actually post the cash that would be necessary to purchase those shares. And that's much more clear cut with puts, because with puts, when you are selling a put, you are selling the obligation to buy shares at the strike price. If you were to do a naked put, then the broker will say, okay, but you'd better be able to deposit cash, or we're going to start liquidating positions if we have to assign you. So that's the difference. If you're playing puts at all, and especially if you do not have a lot of cash that you can just deposit on the fly like that, then you want to be using cash secured puts, because you want to have that cash set aside so that if you are wrong, then that cash is automatically going to be used to purchase those shares if you get assigned. So that's the important distinction. With calls, it's simpler, because it's like, you want to sell a covered call? Great. Do you have 100 shares? Cool. Then those 100 shares, that's your collateral. With puts, it's got to be cash, because selling a put, obligation to buy shares. Selling a covered call, obligation to sell shares. Hope that helps clarify that for everybody.
That was great. I also want to clarify, because like all of you guys are talking about really amazing things for options, but we have a lot of smooth brained apes in the community that aren't playing options. So we're not like suggesting that anybody should play options when they're not comfortable with that. I think the conversation also has to be had about just like playing both ends of the coin, whether that means that you're going to be just buying and hodling forever, or if you are going to be watching price action. Because I know a lot of people here, like there has never been more people that know the way this stock moves. Like we are probably the most trained at knowing how this stock moves.
That's an excellent point, and it's definitely worth bringing up that there's never been a more watched basket of stocks. Which, if you are in, I'll just say this: if you are in AMC and you have no intention whatsoever to play options or scalp shares or anything like that, or if you're not doing that regularly with other stocks, you should not be staring at that chart every day. It's not healthy. If you're staring at that chart every single day and you are not making regular purchases and sale of stock, you are destroying yourself psychologically slowly every single day. And the reason why is because every single day you are giving yourself an adrenaline rush, and your cortisol levels the stress hormone are going through the roof every single day. When you watch that price move in any direction, that kind of stress on your body is not good for you. And if you're doing that, if you're just watching a stock like, I hope it moons today, then you know what? You should probably think about not doing that. You should probably set an alert for whatever you think you want to sell your shares for. Like if that's $1 million, fine, you do whatever you want. But you should set an alert for that and just stay away. It's not healthy for people to be constantly staring at a chart, just watching bars go up and down without acting on that. Like go for a walk, go to the gym, play a game,
Yeah.
visit your family, do something. Don't be staring at a chart. And then to the other point that you made, Dilly, as we mentioned earlier, the purpose of this call isn't to strictly focus on options, but I do think that it's important that everybody be willing to educate themselves on options because it affects them. So thank you, Dilly, for bringing that up.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, I think that it's so important to talk about options, but also there are just so many people in the community that aren't playing them, and that's totally okay. There are, like, we are a group of trained analysts that have been watching this chart for however the fucking long. And like, what I think about is like the Battle of 801. A lot of you are Battle of 801 true tested apes out there. And much respect, I was there with you. I think it's important to remember what it was like back then, and like people bringing up new DD or new theories or new hypothesis about like anything related to the stock market. Like, of course, hedge funds and different like market makers are going to change their tactics. So like we need to not villainize one another for bringing up new concepts. When I saw that Astro and Trey were being attacked online, it hurt my heart just because I admire them for having new ideas and being brave enough to bring up this stuff in front of the community, knowing that they are going to be attacked. Like we want them to be the leaders in this fight with us. So I guess I wanted to bring it back to that, like, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense to me. With that, does anybody else want to come up and speak or ask any questions? We've got about we've reserved ourselves up till I think it was 7 p.m. Eastern time, or I'm sorry, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if anybody else wants to come up and ask a question,
G has been raising his hand for a little bit.
Oh, has he? I'm sorry, my UI has been.
That's all right. I'm here for you. I got you, babe.
Thanks.
It's all
What's
good.
up, Pete?
I'm happy you guys got off Discord and brought it to Twitter because I think the conversation gets a lot more exposure. So that worked. It works out well. Right?
Apparently, Pete, we have a lot of people in here. I didn't really realize.
Yeah. Twitter's the spot. Twitter's the spot to have this conversation. And thank you guys for holding the space. 100% on what you just said, right? And I see Jay Brown down there. I think knowledge is the most important thing we could pick up along the way here, right? Like when Trey and Astro put this out, it made sense to me, and then it didn't make sense to me, and I'm having a little bit of a hard time with it, right? And so, yeah, rather than shut down the conversation, let's talk about it, right? Because how I think about it is this. Is me, the individual investor, if I'm making better decisions, right, it works out not only for myself, but for the entire community, right, if I'm doing the right thing. Now, that being said, I want to run something by you guys real quick. And it's something I've noticed with the emergence of like FinTwit and whatnot, right? I heard Honey Badger, he's down there. He was in a BBIG space, and he was kind of breaking down the open interest on whatever ticker, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, how many tickers have we seen hyped on Twitter? And I think what happens is, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong here, what happens is people start piling into these calls, right? Get bad entries. And the way I heard Honey Badger kind of explain it is, I guess the easiest way to put it is this way. Just because the open interest is there on any ticker, right? Everybody's thinking, oh my God, the open interest number is huge. Look at it. It's built all the way out. This thing's going to gamma, right? But as he was talking about it the other day, as you're getting close to that expiration, you don't know who's pulling out just to get out of a bad trade they made, right? And so that might lower the number. And I believe that's part of the reason we've never seen any of these FinTwit tickers kind of take that gamma ramp and run with that open interest. And then when I pull even further back, right? Like when these guys said the put side is empty, that blew my mind, because I swear I said that to two of my friends not a week before they said that, right? Like the one side is overloaded, and it just, the balance is off, and I'm a smooth brain, right? I can't make sense of it. So I'm open to this conversation, because I think what we're seeing is exactly what I just said is, you know, if you guys look around Twitter, it's almost like you take AMC from a year ago and slap a different ticker on it and have retail pile into the call side, and it just never works out, right? So we're making bad decisions along the way for ourselves. It's almost like a format, like, oh, to the moon, diamond hand, PROG, BBIG, right?
Yeah, but
and then
they
you see
figured us out.
exactly, that's the figuring out that I'm saying has happened on the other side.
They
Like,
piled into LMNOP.
oh, I went to the moon on that today. It's
Same.
Lemonop. It's Lemonop, by the way.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was lemon dusted tendies. I don't know.
But yeah, does
But
that make sense? That, I mean, I could keep going, because I mean,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of people in here that I've messaged and annoyed and bothered, because I'm trying to make sense of it. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I got it, and then sometimes I don't.
No, Pete, you have literally got it. So let me break this down in a super simple way for you. This is actually something that I hope Unusual Whales refines on his platform in the future. It does not inherently mean anything if there is a lot of call or put premium on either side, right? That doesn't mean you're going to see a huge move up. Doesn't mean you're going to see a huge move down. What you're paying attention to, in my opinion, is two kind of metrics. Is the flow in either direction unusual? Meaning, compared to what you have seen in the past, is it higher or lower than you would typically see? Unusual Whales already does this, right? This makes sense. The other thing that I would like to track is what is the cost of a call to a put comparatively, right? So in an example, whatever XYZ ticker that you were looking at that had an obscene amount of calls and absolutely no puts, what does that look like for a market maker who's writing up these contracts, who's selling those calls? It looks like you're just fucking stealing candy from a baby. I mean, you're pulling up to a house and you're punching a baby in the face and you're ripping that Reese's cup out of his hand. I mean, that's literally what this is. That is free chicken. That's the definition of free chicken for these guys. What I hope to see Unusual Whales add, as I mentioned before, and how I think this would help people is if you could see the imbalance between either side of the options chain. And I would imagine, I don't know what ticker this is, but just hypothetically speaking, I can imagine if there was a whole bunch of calls but no puts, that was likely just market makers collecting a bag. You nailed it right on the head. You know that inherently, and you didn't even have to. You're just fact checking, right? You just wanted to ask other people their thoughts. You already knew it. I mean, that's exactly what that is.
Here would be my follow-up, right? And here's where I get stuck. And I know this may seem like a stupid question, and I should know the answer to it, right? But if
There
I'm
is no
buying
stupid question.
yeah, if I'm buying a put, right? What is the repercussions? Let's say a $10 stock, I buy an $8 put, right? Expiry date comes, $8. What's the outcome of that? What are the options on both sides of the trade for that?
I think there's two sort of scenarios, right? If you are a bull on XYZ given ticker and you are just trying to hedge yourself from the downside, you likely are not trying to exercise that put, right? You'd likely sell it. So in the short term, what a market maker will do if a put runs from out the money to in the money, it'll get hedged for, meaning that market makers will sell stock into the market or into, as we're all familiar, OTC, the off exchange trading sort of platform that we know about. By the way, I won't get into the nitty gritty of this, but where do you think a lot of that off exchange volume comes from? Hedging and unhedging of options. Kind of coming full circle here, right? That's one option. If you wanted to sell it, they hedge it if it runs in the money, and then they have to buy it back because, right, you don't have that contract anymore. That's off the market, which means they no longer have to sort of allocate those shares in their own given portfolio, the shares that they have. So they buy back that stock, and you essentially are null void. You made your bag, you're out, you're done. If you exercise, it's a different ball game, right? The market maker at that point has to hedge for you potentially exercising. If you exercised it, that is then on you. And you'd just be sort of held, reliable or accountable for your own position. That's on you at that point. Those are sort of the two options.
That's it. Thank you guys for, throwing it out there. And like I said, man, and I've been saying it on as many space calls as possible, the more we shut ourselves down to the knowledge, not only are you doing yourself a disservice, you're doing everybody that you're talking to a disservice, right? And so that's all I got. Thanks for the space.
Thanks so much, Pete. Like 1,000,000%.
Take it easy, bro.
The one thing to remember is like we need to grow, every single one of us, and that's what we've been trying to do. And so we can't shut down more knowledge. And that only comes with expansion if we're communicating. But Jay Brown, you've had your hand up. What do you have to say?
Oh, mine is more of a statement rather than a question, if y'all indulge me for a second. This is what we do and what it's all about. And Trey, shout out to you for bringing the whiteboard back. I appreciate it. I missed it from the old days. And
I got a fancy little pen that I can write on it with now. I got to show off my shitty handwriting, man.
Yeah, man. The whiteboard, like I said, man, you guys got me into this thing, and me and Pete talk about it all the time. Blow each other's phones up talking about it. Is that the wealth of knowledge that we have united far outweighs, individual knowledge. And what we're doing here tonight is showing the evolution and growth of what it is that we've been doing and continue to do, because these are the knowns. Number one, we know they cheat. We know they manipulate. We know all these things. What we need to start knowing is how to combat it. And the only way to do that is with knowledge. And anytime something is brought up and it's automatically deemed nefarious, then it stops the organic growth of knowledge. Talking about options in the beginning was taboo because nobody really understood them. Nobody really knew. I learned how to trade options from Pete, believe it or not, just trying it. And it saved my ass buying some SQQ calls in January that I bought in, I want to say, the end of October, first part of November. Didn't know what I was doing, but I needed to stop the bleeding. And my thing is that, yes, some things that we do now may be considered taboo from what we originally did, but that's the evolution of growth. If you learn something and you don't apply it, shame on you. If you guys or anybody, like I said, it takes a lot of balls to put out DD. I tell all of you DD guys that, all of you TA guys, all the space hosts, all of the space participants, because immediately that idea will get shredded apart. But the only thing that was missing that I think we filled the gap in this time is that whenever there's an issue or something brought up that is not of the norm, we come together to solve the problem together and get some better understanding of what is going on, because that is how they beat us. Divided, we lose. Together, we win. We've been saying that forever, but now it feels like the tide is turning to where everybody is starting to open their mind. It's not telling you to turn your back on your particular play. It's not telling you to turn your back on your particular community. What it's telling you is that it's time to grow. And growth is always good. Growth and understanding. I'm not going to change. I'm 45 years old. And last time I checked, I'm still a black man. I'm not changing, but I can grow. And that is the message that the all people equals community is pushing forward, is growth and understanding, and also appreciation for one another for just being in the fight. let us not forget that. So, Demon, thank you for hosting this. Sarah, thank you for bringing me up. Trey, thank you for being here. Hey, Astro, appreciate the DD, man, for pushing it out there. Because, like I said, I went to your video from Trey video. Then I went back and watched Trey's. And it made sense to me. Me and Pete were talking about it. We hinted about this months ago, but didn't know exactly how it worked. You know, we trying to figure out how they hide this money, where they getting this liquidity from, where is this happening at? That's because we're so centered and focused on what we've already learned rather than trying to learn more and grow and build upon the wealth of knowledge so that we can become more experienced traders. Because believe it or not, at this point, you are a trader, whether you know it or not. You have the ability to learn from such wonderful people. And I'm learning every day. And I'm trying to share whatever I learn every day in my regular life and on Twitter. So thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. Great
I
town
actually have a
hall.
question before you leave. I don't know if you are a member of Hell's Trading Floor yet, but we would love to have you as a community member in our Discord. And that's like what you're talking about is the fundamentals of like what we're all about in Hell's Trading Floor. It's True Demons Discord. We're not out there like trying to be like some sort of fan Discord. There's such a separation between all these communities, and we want to be that like bridging the gap for that.
Man, I don't mind. I don't mind at all
Love
because
to have you
that's cool.
there. We have created like some bots and stuff, but I mean, we can talk about that later. But we're all about expansion. So
Yeah, I'm definitely down to
you
check
so
it out
much.
and be a part of it because that's the thing. All of 2021, I avoided the drama. I avoided having to pick sides. I avoided to do anything. And then I also got to learn certain people to be around, certain people not to be around, certain pitfalls, all the other shit. And what I realized is this, is that we are all thrust into a situation that we never thought we'd be in. But the fact of the matter is we're here now. And I just decided 2021 was, the expansion, and 2022 was all about education. So that's why I shifted my focus. I used to be in DMs, de-escalating things and trying to do this and that. And I'm just at the point where I'm just like, connect with who you can connect with, because I'm in this for selfish reasons at this point. And I tell everybody that. I really am. And it's not monetary selfish reasons. We have gone through so much in the past 3 years in this country, in this world, that we're realizing what all of these things were designed to divide us. And this collectively has the power to connect everybody, because what is the one thing that affects every person walking around here every day? Money. So if I can build a connection with you about what I agree with you on, then what happens when we talk and we have a tough conversation?
Absolutely.
It's harder for me to walk away from somebody I don't know versus somebody I do. And that's what I'm all about. That's what I've been all about. But education is where I'm at in 2022. So I'll definitely check it out, man. And it's good to see all of these voices not worrying about influence and all that kind of stuff. The only way you become an influence is if somebody labels you one and you decide that's who you are. Everybody knows who they are when they wake up in the morning. So it doesn't really matter what somebody calls you, it's what you answer to. And that's all it is. Is what do you answer to? Am I Jay Brown or am I, influencer? I'm Jay Brown. That's what my wife tells me. And according to her, I'm a regular fucking person. So that's where I remain. So I'm
I
cool.
went up to make Stinky, and it took longer than expected, but fucking salute.
Amen to that, brother.
So man, look, I'm gonna step down, but thank you for letting me make my statement. Just
Thank
send
you
it
so
to
much
me
for talking.
and I'll check it out, man, because Discord still confuses me a little bit. There's a lot of shit going on in Discord. Twitter makes it easy, but I'm always here to connect these things and try to see how we can all come under one umbrella, because technically we are. If we press the buy and sell button ourselves, we're apes, we're retail. It's us versus them. And the crazy part about it is they're not the enemy, they're adversaries. An enemy you can't think. An adversary you have to think. So therefore, I want us all to have to think. So therefore, we can beat our adversary. That's all I got.
It's
Right on.
It's It's
Thank you so much,
easier.
Jay Brown. Thank you so much, Jay Brown, for coming up to speak, and we'd be happy to welcome you to the community. Unfortunately, we're coming down to the wire here. We've got 10 minutes left in the call. So Sassy has come up to, she's been waiting for a little while. So after her,
Ginger.
that's going to be the end, and I'll leave it for closing thoughts from Trey and Astro.
Hello, this is Ginger. I haven't changed my name to say Ginger, back to Ginger. Anyway, thank you guys for hosting this call. I really appreciate it. Education is definitely really important, especially when something is controversial. And one thing that I would like to say, I'm more on the newer, uneducated side. So I think that's important for the newer apes to understand is that removing AMC from your brain when you're talking and listening about what is being discussed here in regards to puts. AMC is very emotional to, I think, most everybody. And so with that emotional tie, you already kind of get this defensive nature because puts already have a negative connotation. And so with that, the two connections makes it seem like you're talking about puts and you already get kind of defensive. And then you're talking about AMC and you're like, whoa, somebody just bitch slapped my grandma. No, we don't talk about AMC and puts. And so then you're basically your ears shut down. And then you don't want to learn about it because no, I'm not doing anything about puts and AMC. And so I think de-escalating that, one way to do that is just to think about it and learn the education about the options if that's what you want to do, and take AMC out of it and think about it as just the LMNOP stock or whatever stock you want. And whoever said it earlier that about if you're going to buy and hold, step away. Just step away, learn if you want to. If you want to learn about options, there are good videos out there. And before you step forward, I highly, highly suggest paper trading. Paper trading. Think or Swim has a good platform for that, and you can try it and learn all about it in action and without losing any money. So anyway, that is all of my thoughts, and thank you very much for all of this, and thank you for letting me come up and speak, Miss Dilly.
We love you.
Thank you.
I love all the women traders. Like, I'm just going to say, we have some boss-ass bitches up in this community. So
We do.
thank you all for being here.
Big facts.
Thank you, Ginger, for coming up, and I wholeheartedly concur with your thoughts. Definitely agree with the one piece of advice that I will ever give somebody is do not do anything with your money that you do not understand. If you're going to start trading anything, you should probably start with paper trading, if any. All right. We're coming down to the end of the call, so I'll go ahead and open it up to closing thoughts from Trey and Astro, whichever of you guys would like to go ahead and speak first.
Rock, paper,
Don't.
scissors.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone do a countdown.
All right,
10.
all right. TD, pick a number between 1 and 10. Whichever's
69.
closer, we'll go first.
69.
All right.
I'm ready if you are.
Wait, what?
6.
Count it down.
You know, I can't count that fucking high, dog. What the fuck?
Oh, God, you guys. It's
I'll
just
send
getting
it.
more awkward.
Forget it.
Just make it more as awkward as possible.
Yeah, like
Yeah, but
bunch
you know,
of
my
nerds.
closing thoughts kind of align with what I've always said. You know, I think I would rather tell people what I truly in my fucking nutsack believe to be the hard truth over the easy wrong. I know that I could just sit here day by day and just say the same shit that every other YouTuber is telling you, but I know in the cockles of my fucking chest that's not the right thing to do. Retail can evolve. We can get better. We can get smarter, and we can make money every single day while we wait. And ultimately, you know, this is what I'm going to say. You guys are some smart fucking people. All right. Everybody that's listening right now who's in this game has figured out in some way, shape, or form more than they knew a year ago, more than they knew a day ago, more than they knew a month ago. I think all that I want is for everybody to feel like they're leveling up as days pass, and to never associate green with good, red with bad. I've talked about sort of the splits between that and what I think are different solutions, but ultimately that's up to you, right? I just want to see evolution. I want to see people happy. I want to see people making money, because that's what the stock market's for. And I just want us to level up, man. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know, the market's confusing. The market is a fucking machine for either saints or for sinners. It's a fucked up place, but at the end of the day, money talks and bullshit walks. You know, I know people don't want to hear the word puts. They haven't want to hear the word puts for almost a year and a half now. But I've always had one priority, which is I'm going to skull fuck you with the truth in the most loving way possible. And if you want to join on the bandwagon and maybe hear something new, then, you know, this is the place for you. If you're someone that just wants to buy and hold and whatever else, that's your prerogative. I think that at the end of the day, the most feared thing by any big money is to have the salt of the earth be the most educated. And the moment that you have a collection of people who are considered to be the minnows to the whales, or the plankton to the whales, know what they're doing, that's when Wall Street is going to be flipped on its head. So the sooner we get to that point, the sooner I think everyone, whether they're an ape or not, whether they're an AMC or GameStop or not, it won't matter. I think when the majority of everyone can enter into the market and know how to make money, that's when all this gets flipped on its head.
Thanks, Astro. I really couldn't have said it better myself, but I'm going to try. Absolutely, the most powerful thing that has happened in the past. Wow, we're going on like 18 months now since this truly started. Like before January, like, because this has been going on for a while, since
We'll send it
November.
back further than that. How about 14 years, going back to 08?
Oh, you know how to get him started.
Oh God.
Don't do it.
Yeah, if I start a rant now on 08, I'll be here all night. So, and I don't have time for that. But that is absolutely the truth, that this game, this system, this entire vehicle, as it's called, for generating wealth, has been utilized as a vehicle to run over the 99%. And, you know, it's it's phenomenal to me that the only thing that we haven't truly figured out is just what the rules of the road are. And if we just simply understood them, we would understand, you know, to just step out of the way of the bus that's coming down the road. The beautiful thing that has come out of all of this god-awful shitty mess that we call the ape movement is that for the first time in our society, we have figured out a way to weaponize the voice of literally millions of individuals towards the forcing of an equitable market, of an equitable system. And it's unique in that for the first time, I think this may be the first time that we have ever seen a financially waged war that has been begun by individuals, by a mob of individuals. And we have done something that is fundamentally going to change how everybody looks at our history many years from now, especially if we can figure out a way to win. And if you're going to figure out any way to win a war, you must understand your adversary, as Jay Brown put it. And I am so glad that he came up here to say that. It was a very powerful statement, that you must understand your adversary. And the one thing that we seek to make everybody else understand is that our markets, the way that they function, and the way that market makers, broker dealers, banks, and all of these institutions that have been using these vehicles to run us over, the thing that they fear most is our own education of their system. They've intentionally built it to be confusing. They have made it so it is difficult to understand. They have gate-kept the knowledge. They have put it behind paywalls. They have done everything that they possibly can to keep it under control and out of the hands of the masses, just as was done in the medieval ages. Education is a powerful and dangerous weapon in the hands of the masses. And the elite know that. So before turning down this information, before closing your ears, understand that your education is the weapon by which you wage your war against the elite that have stepped on your necks for the last decade, 2 decades, however long you have been on this earth, and came to the realization that you have been placed under the control of those who think themselves better than you. With that, I want to thank everybody who came up here to speak. Trey, Astro, thank you guys for being willing to talk publicly about your theories and speak to everybody here on this space call. It wasn't meant to be a space call, but you know, it worked out anyway. So thank you guys for being a part of this. And thank you all for joining us to listen in and offer us your questions and your counter arguments. This has been a fantastic event.
Yeah. Thanks
for hosting,
being
bro.
brave.
Yeah, thank you, Ben.
Being brave.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We hope that you'll consider joining us for our next discussions whenever we host another event. Or if you want to be a part of these discussions in the future on the regular basis, you can join us at Hell's Trading Floor. Both Astro and Trey are members, among several other YouTube influencers. We're not a community of fans. We're a community of educators, and we're a community of amateurs that are looking to get better at what we do, that is trading and investing. So if you're interested in being a part of that and affecting a change and in yourself and others, then please consider joining us at Hell's Trading Floor. That's our Discord is at https://discord.gg/Hell's Trading Floor. You can come and join us, subscribe through our Patreon, and be a part of the discussion. We are talking constantly from bell to bell, and even beyond that. So thank you all so much for
Don't stop.
Yeah, sorry.